Hey there, welcome to my channel. I'm Crafty Kathy. This week we are doing some classic Christmas, just some beautiful old-fashioned gorgeous Christmas decor, and I hope you like it. Let's jump in. In our first DIY of the day, I'm going to show you how you can take an outdated picture like this one from the thrift store and make it something so beautiful for your home. This picture is very large. It's a 16 by 20. I paid $4 for it at the thrift store. You see, it already has a Christmas pattern on it. However, I don't like the colors on there, but I really like the shape of the frame. So we are going to take this beautiful piece of decoupage paper that I got from Lori over at Milton's Daughter, and we're going to turn it into something gorgeous for my home to hang on my wall this Christmas. I flipped it over and used my little putty knife to pop up the staples just enough to get the glass out and that inner piece. Now that inner piece, that round piece, is actually two pieces, and it had some shiny paper on it, which, to be honest with you, I probably would have just left on there, but it kind of curled up in one or two spots around the edges, and I didn't want mine to have that curled up piece, you know. So I just pulled it off the best that I could, and then the parts that gave me a little bit of trouble, I just misted it with my water bottle, let the water set in for just a few seconds, and then used my little putty knife to scrape it off. And to make sure that everything was nice and smooth, I took it outside and sanded it down real quick. And I also popped that front piece off just to make it easier to get all that paper off of there. I did the same thing to that outer portion too. There was one or two spots that it was starting to curl up, and I just knew that it would look tacky, and I didn't want that. So I pulled all that paper up and did the same thing. If it gave me trouble, I squirted it down a little bit and then got it off with my putty knife. I wasn't able to get every shred of that paper off of there, but it's okay. Since I took it outside and sanded it, it didn't have any like little bumpy paper bits or anything. And then I wiped it off really good with a baby wipe. I let it dry and I brought it back inside, and I'm going to paint it with DIY's color called crinoline. Crinoline is a perfect beige color, and you definitely want to do a white or a beige whenever you're doing any kind of decoupage, or in my opinion, because it just makes your decoupage paper brighter and it makes the image pop so much better. It did take 2 coats to cover up the board really well, and when I did that outer ring, I only did this part that you're going to see, because that top circle is going to cover up most of this board, and I didn't want to waste my paint by painting something that I'm just going to cover up. So when it came time to paint the outer portion, I knew exactly what color I wanted. I wanted a blue-gray color, and I was thinking DIY skeleton key, which is this color on the right, and it just wasn't really what I was looking for. This color is called Gravel Road by DIY Paint on the left, and it was way too light. It definitely wasn't what I was looking for. So what I ended up doing is mixing a few paint colors together to get exactly what I wanted. Around the 4th of July, I created a navy blue color by adding DIY paint in the color Blue Iris and Black Velvet. And I knew that I wanted to mix that navy blue with this gray, which I did with the skeleton key, and it was still a little bit too light. So I put a few drops of black velvet with it, and it became the color that I wanted. So once I found the color that I wanted, I painted my whole piece, and it only took 1 coat because this clay-based paint is so thick and so nice that it just goes on so smoothly. Now, the thing that I love about the DIY paint is when it goes on, it's darker. So it's always so pretty whenever you dry it down and you can just see it change before your eyes. Y'all know that never gets old for me. So the next step that I'm going to do is take my DIY white wax. It's been a little while since I've used my white wax, and I wanted a very particular look to this frame. So I just put some on the chippy brush. I start off light because I want to, you know, kind of gauge, like when I put it on there, if it's enough or not. If it's not enough, you can always add more, but it's a little bit more difficult to take away unless you put a clear wax underneath, which honestly I was too lazy to do. Let's just be honest. And so I added a little bit of the white wax on there. I liked the way it looked. And I got my little lint-free rag and just kind of rubbed it in so it wouldn't look streaky. I definitely wanted the frame area, like the inside circle there, to have a little bit more white. So I went back, added a little bit, and I really didn't wipe it off because I wanted it to be on there. And I just kind of rubbed in, you know, rubbed that white wax in to get the look that I wanted, and it was exactly what I wanted. It took that blue-gray paint and just made it this beautiful vintage look. I can't really describe what it is, but I mean, look how beautiful that color is. So then I took the inner pieces and I'm going to put those back together. And what I did for that was put down some wood glue and just a little bit of hot glue to make sure that it's going to have a really good stick. The first time, I think I just tried hot glue here and it didn't really work that well. So I went back and added some of the Titebond Quick and Thick to make sure that we got a really good coverage, and put some heavy candles on it and left it alone overnight so it could bond. Here we are the next day and I've got my decoupage, but you know, Kathy don't do straight edges when you're decoupaging. So I just squirted a little bit of water onto my silicone mat and used a paintbrush and just kind of outlined the picture, and I went around and tore. Now the reason why I tear it is because it just gives it a more organic look. It makes it look like it was made onto the piece. If you have like straight or harsh edges, it just doesn't look right. Now most of this is going to be on the middle circle, but some of it is going to be overhanging. And I just used my Elmer's glue stick. That's what I've been using for my decoupage lately. It works great, so I don't see any reason to try anything else. You just make sure you get your edges really good so that it's going to stick down on those edges, and just cover the whole piece and lay it down. Now, when I stepped back and looked, I did not like the way that it looked up at the top there. So I just went back with my little sanding sponge and very, very lightly sanded it off and pulled that piece off. I just thought that it looked so much better if I just left it alone as a circle. And you know what I'm saying? Instead of letting it go over the side. It just looks so much better when I just left it alone. So I went back with that sanding sponge and got those edges off. And when I pulled those edges off, a little bit of the paper stuck up at the top. So I just had to go back real quick, paint over that, and this is what we've got so far. Look how beautiful. Now we're going to go in with just a little bit of matte Mod Podge. You can use any kind of Mod Podge. And I'm going to go around this outer circle. I just put down a very light coat, and I'm using my favorite glitter, that extra fine. It's called Diamond Glitter by Sue Lynn. It's in my Amazon store in case you want to try some. I use a lot of it at Christmas because I like the way when the lights are down low that the glitter kind of grabs that light, and I think it's beautiful. I also put the Mod Podge over the picture itself. That's going to seal it, and it's also going to give that wetness so I can pour some more glitter on it. I didn't go crazy with the glitter this time, but I did want a nice pretty coat, and I just covered it up. Meanwhile, I'm going to work on the frame while that's drying, and I've got this stencil that I got off of Amazon. It says, "Merry be your Christmas, peaceful be your home, joyful be your family, blessed be each one." But I didn't want to put the whole saying on there. So what I decided to do was put on the top, "Merry be your Christmas," and at the bottom, I'm going to put, "Blessed be your home." Instead of "blessed be each one," I changed it up a little bit because I thought that sounded best. And what I do whenever I'm stenciling is I just used a little bit of my chalk paint, and I'm going to get my brush where there's very, very little on there and kind of tap it off. I use a stencil brush, and I just dab it. I kind of tap it and go up and down because that way I know I'm not going to smear it. I find that for me, that method seems to work best. If you've been around my channel for any length of time, you know how I am about my little string lights. I get these off of Amazon, and they come in a pack of about 16 for around, I think it's about $12 to $16. They come out to be about $1 per each, set. And I use a lot of these at Christmas. Well, let's just be honest. I use a lot of these all the time. You guys know me. Come on. So I like these a lot because they're wired, so you can make them, maneuver them any way you want to, and you can put a little dab of glue on them to hold them still, and it's not going to fry it, So that's what I did, is I just kind of wrapped it about 3 times around my picture, and instead of drilling a hole down in the bottom, I decided just to try to run the cord down and behind the picture. That way it would still be concealed and not look really tacky. So at first I put my picture back in just the way that it was. Got everything put in there, and that wire at the bottom was bothering me. I felt like you could see the wire, but it's because I could see the wire. You know what I'm saying? That little bitty wire down at the bottom. So I thought, ooh, I need to conceal that. And by the way, I always just glue that little battery pack down. It's no problem. I make sure that the screws are on the top side. That way, in case I ever have to change the batteries out. Well, you know me, I opened this frame back up and I stuck a little bit of the polyfill down at the bottom, and it looked really nice when I was looking at it this way. And I thought that'll be perfect. That will conceal that cord, and this is going to be great. Well, I had added that glass back into the frame because I thought it would make it look more, high-end. And when I flipped my picture around, I didn't like it. I didn't really like the way that snow looked at the bottom. It looked like it was squished up. We'll fix that in just one moment. But do you know when you stencil how it always leaves those little gaps in the letters? I don't like that. I think it looks so much better whenever you just, correct it and make it look the way that it's supposed to. So I just used a white paint pen, and the areas where the little gaps were in the letters, all I did was just, touch it up and make it look right, because it just looks, it screams stencil if you don't do that. Or if you ask me, that's kind of what it screams. But I just think it looks so much better when you connect the letters. It just looks right. So after I corrected my letters, I took that awful polyfill snow out of there. I just didn't like the way that it looked smushed up there. And for the purposes of showing you the picture, I took the glass out also. I hope you like this one. I think it's beautiful.
You are my shelter from the storm. You keep me safe inside your wings. You are my comfort when life gets hard. You lead me to water. your gentle hand, even when I can't understand. I know your voice. I'm not afraid. Walking with me at the same pace.
The next DIY is very simple. It is my favorite. I think it's beautiful. I got these 2 medium-sized rounds from Temu. I think they were around $8 for both of them. Don't quote me on that. You could go back and check out my Temu video. It was just like 1 or 2 videos ago, just a few videos back. But I think they're beautiful the way they are. I don't see any reason to stain them or anything. So we're just going to go from here. I did, however, just wipe them off with a baby wipe and clean them off really well. And I was so lucky this past September, I came across this little yard sale close to my house, and I found this bag full of Christmas goodies, y'all. I know these came from Hobby Lobby because I've seen them there before, and I'm too cheap to buy them. So the Lord just sent them right to me that day, and I said, thank you, Lord, and I just kept on rolling, and I had a big old smile on my face. But guys, these are like brand new. They're still in almost brand new condition, okay? Now, these are like candle rings that you would lay down, put your candles in. And this year at Hobby Lobby, I picked up these little red birds. They're normally $14.99, but of course I got them for half off, so they were $7.50. That's about $1 per each bird. They're actually little ornaments. They have these little like screws in the top where you could tie them up and put them on your tree. But I wanted to make a DIY out of these. You guys know that my sister passed away of cancer last year. And ever since then, the red bird has been so special to me. And I just love it. I love it in my Christmas decor. I think it's beautiful. And I thought these would be so pretty to put down in these candle holders and give this to my mom. Now, I'm a firm believer that it just seems like you shouldn't lose your kids before you go. But my poor mom had to go through that, and it's really been hard on her to lose my sister. It's been hard on everybody, but mostly Mama, and it's really aged her since it happened. But I want to give these to her, and I think it will brighten her day a little bit, and she knows the meaning of it. I don't even have to tell her. You know, they say if a red bird lands in your yard, it's a little visitor from heaven, and I guess that's why these are so special to me. I just used the Dollar Tree super glue. That's pretty much all I had. Put a little bit on the bottom of the birds because the birds were flat on the bottom. And then I attached them to one of the branches, and they just sat right up in that branch like they thought they belonged there. And it kind of looks like a little nest, and it just made it perfect. It was just the most perfect little DIY. It was so pretty, and I love the way that it came out. I added just a little bit of hot glue, but I added it where it was not touching that super glue. That's very important. And then you just have to hold it there for about 15 seconds, and it will bond for you. I have to tell you guys, as I was making this DIY, I was thinking about my sister, you know, and I was just praying. And a lot of times when I'm in my craft room, that's when I'm in my quiet space and I have time to pray, or not have time to pray. That's when I make time, you know, and stop everything I'm doing, and I'm creating, and I'm, you know, just talking to the Lord. And oh my goodness, I just had this feeling come over me. It was just a really peaceful feeling. And I knew, you know, that these were going to make my mom so happy. And the wind chimes that I got from my sister's funeral that are right outside my room just started just making this beautiful music, you know. So anyways, it's the little things that you thank God for every day. You know, a little simple reminder that those that we lose are never gone. They're always close by, I feel. And we just have to remember that. If you have faith, you're going to see them again one day, you know. So I got my snow paste that Miss Lori sent to me not long ago, and I just started running it all through this thing. I love the way that this snow paste looks in the pine cones. I just use my little brush and kind of rub it up in the pine cones, and I thought it was so pretty. I went hog wild and started rubbing it on the birds, rubbing it on the, the greenery. I was like, I love this stuff, you know. So anyways, I pulled apart one of these little red berries that I got, and I got these at that yard sale too. I found all kinds of goodies at that yard sale, y'all. I wish I could find that woman again and be like, you got anything else for me, honey? Because I got all kinds of stuff from her that day. Anywho, I just added a couple of these little red berries. And guys, this is the simplest DIY, but it's so beautiful. It's so pretty. It's going to make my mom happy. And I have to tell you, it blessed my soul making it. I promise you, I shed many a tears when I made this. And I hope that y'all like them.
I was counting my blessings. I felt beaten down. I was looking for a calling, felt lonely in a crowd. I was searching for the answers, too blind to see the signs. He was always by my side. He shed his light and picked me up. I'm safe in his arms. I found my bliss in the greatest love.
Our last DIY is very simple also. It was just me playing around. I'm going to take DIY's coloring crinoline. And guys, have y'all saw these pieces at Dollar Tree? It's 3 round little plaque pieces on like a hanger. It's got little beads at the top. It just says wall decor. I found it over in the area where the picture frames are. This one says faith, hope, and love, and it's pretty the way it is. But guys, we are going to jazz it up. Now, I looked at the paper on these because it's that exact same paper that is like on that first DIY that I did. You know, where I was telling you that one was peeling up, so I decided to pull it off. Well, this one was not peeled up in any way, so I just covered it right up with the crinoline. So I'm actually glad that I was able to show you, you know, both ways that sometimes you have to take that paper up if it's curling up and looks bad. And then in this case, I was just able to cover it up. So it did take 2 coats of the crinoline because of those words that were in there. They just kept coming through. I got those nice and painted up, and we're going to use the IOD's Christmas book called Holly Glen. It's got all these cute little critters in there, and I haven't used much of it, and I really need to. I pulled out 3 tags, and I'm just going to paint those up. I just kind of had fun and just kind of went with it. I had a really super busy week, and I wanted to find something that was going to be kind of quick and easy, but also show you the beauty of that's in this book. It's so pretty. This color that I'm using is called Marquee. It's DIY paint. It's a beautiful red color. It's a perfect Christmas color. So I used that red color, and then the next one that I painted was the one called Layered Chocolate. It's a brand new one. I've never used it before, and I'm so glad that Lori sent it to me. It's a really dark brown, but it looked really good with this DIY. Then the last one that I used was my favorite green in the whole wide world. It's Gypsy Green by DIY Paint. It is the most beautiful, like calming green. I can't really even describe it, but I think it's the prettiest green. I love it when it dries down, that color that it is. But like I was saying, I had a sleep study done this week. My daughter's been sick. It's just been one of those weeks, but it seems like most weeks are those weeks, you know. I told that lady that I did the sleep study with, or that my nurse there, that if you looked up hot mess in the dictionary, you're going to see a picture of me right beside it waving like, hey, because, guys, it's crazy. I went off where I was supposed to go to the sleep study. I didn't have time to sit there and read over all the directions, so I was in a hurry last minute trying to get there. Went 8 miles in the wrong direction down the wrong road, so I had to turn around, go back 8 miles and another 8 to get to where the sleep study was. And I was like, honey, I am so sorry I'm late, but guys, I'm glad y'all watch me, but I'm just letting you know right now, hot mess, H-O-T, hot mess, okay? So anyways, if something's going to happen, it seems like it's going to happen with me. That's just, it's always been that way. I don't know. I do not know. Anyways, I'm just going through this book. I'm looking at the critters that I like. I like them all. They're so cute, but I'm trying to figure out the sizes, how they're going to fit on these little tags and on the round part there. I don't know how I get off on these tangents, but today's one of them days. I absolutely love these two little mice. Guys, what is it lately with me and rats? I mean, honestly, do y'all remember at Halloween I did a DIY on something with a mouse? I don't even remember it now. Oh, yeah, the mice, when I made them fur, you know. And then all of a sudden, I did a little peppermint mice a few weeks ago. And it's like, it just keeps coming. And now these mice, they're just speaking to me. They're calling me. And so I have to use them. But I do have to admit to y'all, on my Christmas tree, I found at Hobby Lobby a few years ago, these little cute little Christmas rats, you know. And they've got these little toboggans on. And you can clip them onto your, like the little limbs of your tree, and I've got them all over my tree, and they're little rats, and people are like, what? But they're cute rats. They're not like, you know, the kind that you don't want in your house. It's like, they're just so cute, and I've never had a thing for mice before, but they just keep coming around, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. Anyways, y'all know I'm just being silly. So what you do is you just simply lay down your transfer. You use that little tool that they give you and you rub it back and forth, and it makes that picture go on to whatever your surface is. And then you're going to use the plastic part that you just took it off of and burnish it. That's what I was doing a moment ago. See these two little raccoons? These guys are adorable too. I mean, they just have my heart. Now, if you guys know me in any capacity, you know I'm an animal lover anyways. I have chickens, cats, dogs, and there ain't no telling what else is out here in the woods behind my house. But I'd probably bring it in and, you know, love on it if it was injured. That darn cat I've got, she brings all kinds of pitiful little creatures up to my door. And most of the time, they are still alive, and we can get them from her. She loves moles. I don't know what it is about her and moles and poor little innocent rabbits. And so I'll always play around with her, and I'm like, what you been doing today, girl? Out killing innocent little creatures and bringing them to mama? Because she brings them to me, and they're like injured, and I get them back where they're okay, and I take them down in the field and let them go. I cannot stand to see my cat do that, even though I know she's a cat. I know that's her way. And they say that when a cat brings food and leaves it at your door, or what they think is food, and put it at your door, it's because they are, you know, the feline instinct. The girls go out and hunt. They bring home the food. And so they're basically trying to take care of their family by being like a nice, yummy mole or whatever she thinks she's doing. And I appreciate her for that, but I cannot stand the thought that she's killing innocent animals. It just drives me crazy. So anyways, here I'm just laying down my little pictures like I told you, rubbing it and peeling it right off. Now, Every once in a while, you might have a little piece that's not sticking right. And the reason why one or two of these little pieces did not stick so easily is because I have them kind of hanging off the edge there. But see how easy that is? You just peel it off. And then after I peeled it off, I just take my little hand sander there and get the excess off where it's sticking off around the edges. And then I just take and burnish it with that piece that I took it off of. Or not. Maybe I didn't burnish that one. I don't know. I'm sorry. I told you I'm a hot mess, especially this week. So here I'm getting these little smaller ones. And I thought this little badger, I think that's what he is, would look so cute on that little brown one. So I'm doing the exact same thing here. And I've got it really sped up because I didn't want it to be so repetitive that you guys are losing interest. And I'm just laying it down and using that tool to put it on there. And then I burnish it. Most of the time I do. I don't know what I was thinking a minute ago. But I just take the little piece of plastic and burnish it. There, I did it that time. See, I'm not that much of a hot mess. I am. I really am. I am so bad. So here, I'm just taking my gypsy green and I'm going around my little beads. I didn't want to fool with taking them off and all that stuff. You can, if you have multiple beads, take them off and stick them in something, put a few little drops of your paint and a little mist of water and shake it around. And that's an excellent way to do it if you have multiple beads. I, on the other hand, didn't want to take these beads off of here when I could just paint them like that, you know. Of course, I painted up my hands really nice by doing that. But guys, these turned out so cute. They were really quick and easy. And you know those little tags, I can pop those on gifts and send those to my loved ones at Christmas. Now that's a win-win situation from a hot mess like me. I took these little like gems, I guess you would call them, and these came off of that very first DIY that I did. It was on that first piece that I did that I put the deer on, and I thought I can reuse those. And so I found little pieces on where I could just stick these little gems, and I thought that just really gave it a little something extra. I thought it was very cute. I took my DIY dark wax, which I have never used their dark wax before. It's just a brown wax, and I thought, this is the time to use it. Lori just sent this to me. I didn't even know this stuff existed. And then I asked her, and she was like, duh. And so she sent me some, and I was trying it out, and I really do like it. It's kind of the same as like you would use the Waverly wax or whatnot, but the DIY wax is formed a little bit, you know, better. It's creamier, and I just love the way that it looked. It darkened everything up just the perfect amount.
Then you know it's Christmas when the snow starts to fall. Then you know it's Christmas for the children above all. Then you know it's Christmas 'cause Santa's on his way. We'll stand under the mistletoe, and then it's Christmas Day. The joyful times we witness forever stays with us. Soon Rudolph hears his whistle.
If you stayed with me through this whole video, I just want to say thank you. You really are a trooper to have stayed this whole time with me running my mouth and talking about everything under the sun. But I had a good time, and I'm so glad that you guys came and spent a little bit of time with me, watched me craft, and I hope that I maybe gave you a little bit of inspiration. If this is the first time that you've ever been to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I don't want you leaving without becoming a part of our family. And if you did enjoy this video, please give me a big thumbs up because it really helps me out on YouTube. And guys, don't forget that my videos come out every Monday and Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you here on the next, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. I want to say thank you again for watching this video, and if you did enjoy it, I have another one right here that is very similar content to this one. You just click on the video, and when this one's finished in a moment, it'll take you to that one. You can also click on my face right here, and it will subscribe you to the channel. God bless you and your families.